a walk with me to the dark side, where the spirits are archived on the far side, shadows with dark eyes and creatures that tell lies.
Right, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Ghosts. I am your host, SunRay. Today, I have a special guest on here to share her paranormal experiences with us and give us a little bit of her insight. Make sure to like this video and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. All right, I'm going to bring on our guest now. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me. You want to
Thank
tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Glenda Dawson, and I am a medium, a paranormal investigator, Reiki grandmaster, lots of other stuff. I have been doing this basically all my life. I was not even 2 years old, and I was already speaking to archangels. And As a matter of fact, the day before my second birthday, they asked me to start walking. Up to that point, every single doctor that my parents had taken me said I could not walk and that they would just have to deal with me never walking. And that the day before they went, I was sitting outside where my mother used to put me in the afternoon so she could actually do housework. And they just said, "Come on, let's go." And I was like, "No, I can't." They're like, "Come on, let's go." And they picked me up. They took my hand, and they're like, "Go ahead, go ask your moms for something to drink." And I did. Now, mind you, I'm just about two. Uh, I walk in. I ask my mother for something to drink because I could talk very early. And I haven't stopped. So when I did that, she turned around and she literally screamed at the top of her lungs and then fainted, proceeded to faint. Now, the neighbors heard the scream, thinking that there was something wrong, because here I am, that she's got a child that can't walk, yada yada. And they're all surrounding me, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? All I want is that drink. I 2 years old,
Yeah.
and so when everything calmed down and everybody was gone and everybody was stopped saying it was a miracle, yada yada. My mother asked me what happened, and I said, "Well, Mom, those friends that I talk to all the time." She's like, "Yeah, this is what they said." She's like, "Never talk to anyone about you talking to people who don't are not alive. You
Uh-huh.
just come to me." And I never quite understood it. When I was young, I thought everybody talked to everybody. Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started seeing my great grandparents, and they would come and talk to me. And I would say, "Mom, you know, such and such came in and they looked like this, and they said this." And my mother's like, "Okay, remember, only me. Don't." But, to me, it was so natural that I was speaking to people that didn't exist or people wouldn't see them.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought everybody did see them. And then right around the age of 4, I told one of my friends, and they're like, "There's nobody there." I'm like, "Yes, there is. There's somebody right there. There's nobody there. You're crazy." And, of course, I realized why my mother was saying, "Keep it quiet."
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's been my whole life. I've been gifted with a lot of gifts, a lot of spiritual gifts, and discovered that they have been generational. So I could trace them back at least 8 generations of
Wow.
the women on my mother's side. I have not really been able to trace them on my father's side, but from what I understand from the cousins and stuff like that, some of them do have them. They just won't acknowledge them. So, but
Wow.
yeah, so it was very interesting. And then, as I got older, I realized I couldn't talk about it anywhere. So I would go to a funeral, for example, and I would be like, oh, I got to get out of here. I
Mhm.
get, because I'm seeing everybody crying, and I'm like, and then, you see the casket and the body. And then I would see the person next to me saying, they left me too pale. I needed to have more makeup. And they, or a woman saying, they didn't give me enough eyeshadow. And I'm like, I am sitting here in your funeral trying to make believe you're not here,
Right.
and have myself looking normal because everybody was like crying and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
And so that's when I said, okay, unless you're coming with some relevant information,
Mhm.
right now I cannot hear you. So you're going to
At
have to disappear till later.
at what age did you discover that boundary and discover how to put that boundary in place?
I actually put that boundary up when I was 13.
15.
13.
13. Wow.
I had surgery, and when I woke up out of surgery, I kept seeing all these ghosts in the hospital. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, 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 no. I am under medication. I don't know what I'm going to say. No,
Mhm.
no, no, no. You guys all got to disappear. This is not the time. And then, as I call them, the vampires did, the people who used to come every day and take your blood to
Mhm.
make sure you didn't have an infection or anything like that. Because in those times, it isn't as easy as now. In those times, are, big needles and
Yeah.
horrible people. Uh, and I would get the ghosts to tell me when they were coming so I could go and eat something so they couldn't take my blood. So at least 3 out of the 7 days, I would get away with it. They would say, okay, they're coming. And I would get going. I would, in my um, little wheelchair, because at that time I had a leg surgery, in my
Mhm.
wheelchair, and I will roam around and go ask the nurses for something to eat because I'm hungry, and they will give me something, and they all caught on that I was like strategically making sure that I didn't get this one particular woman who used to take blood because she was horrible, horrible. So,
There's
um,
always that one that'll completely
ah,
kill your
ruined.
veins and everything.
Yeah, and she would go in, and if she didn't get it right away, she would go hunting as she's
Ooh.
inside. And I'm like, yeah, no, 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 no. I'm 13 years old. That is painful. No, no, no. So that's where I learned how to put boundaries, though, because I'm coming out of surgery, and I'm seeing all these people, and I'm like getting overwhelmed just because I'm coming out of surgery. Don't even know where I am. It's 3 days later after surgery when I finally wake up, and I'm
Mhm.
seeing all these ghosts, and I'm like, get out. You got to get out. Yeah, yeah. Nope, 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 nope. So I basically explained to them, look, I don't mind talking to you, but I need my rest. I'm
Mhm.
I'm in this human form yet. I need rest. I need healing. This is not the time. I'll let you know.
Yep.
And basically now I even have it set up that way so they know when my office hours are open and they know when they're not.
Mhm.
So, and then and I keep telling them you could come on Thursday nights when I have mediumship class, when I, teach the mediumship, teach everybody how to do it and all that. You could come then, but not unless I call you specifically or I say, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm talking to a client and I want to be open up and then, open and say, okay, start coming, and then it's okay, but you have to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be walking around seeing everything.
Yeah.
And when you're driving, you can't be distracted, and you'll see
Mm-hmm.
the person who got hit on the side of the road and all that. And I'm like, yeah, no. Mm-mm.
That's amazing that you can actually see them. I can hear them and
Mm.
feel them.
Right,
I can identify if it's male or female, how tall they are. Sometimes I can feel how old they are,
right.
but I've never like really seen them with my naked eye. I sometimes see them with my third eye, but never with my naked eye, full
You
apparitions.
you just have to practice, and the more you practice, the more those gifts develop,
Yeah.
and you'll find that one takes you to the other one, and then slowly you'll have all of them. But yeah, I could see them, and it's good, but then sometimes it's like I said, you have to put your boundaries.
Yeah.
So yeah, so.
Definitely put the boundaries.
Yeah, so that's why I've been teaching, for example, mediumship development, complimentary every Thursday night.
Oh, I might
Yeah,
have to. Or is
on
it remote?
it's on Zoom and in person both. I have a
Oh,
hybrid class, and anybody's welcome, whether you're just starting out or you're really advanced, whatever. So it isn't like you have to even know what you're doing. This is
I,
why it's
I
development.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely interested. I'd love to tap in and check it out and see what happens. For any of our listeners, if they want
Mhm.
to look into this, where can they find this information?
Well, you could find most of my stuff on my website, glendasmagicalcreations.com. But you could find me on Facebook, and I post those events all the time. I have a meetup. You could also join Glenda's Magical Creations. And that also tells you all of my events, whether they're paid or non-paid, the ones that I stream, everything. So and like right now, I'm doing a little bit less classes because I'm actually doing courses. So
Hmm.
once those courses start, I kind of don't continue advertising it, or putting the dates on any social media, because then it's just the group. For
Right.
example, now I'm doing tarot certifications. It's 18 months. We meet once a month. But by the time that you finish my class, you'll know how to read without even having to use tarot. So,
Very
you
nice.
could just use playing cards.
Hmm.
So it's like that kind of thing. I have, if I can, I have guest speakers and guest teachers also. So, and everybody practices in the class, and they get assignments. So you have a whole month to do the assignments, but you get assignments, and that's how you continue. Because it isn't just me telling you, okay, this means this.
Hmm.
No, I want you to read. Yes, the original intention was this, but I want you to read deeper. I want
Hmm.
you to feel and come to your own understanding of what that card means for that
Yep.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically. Um,
And it's learning what those feelings are identifying, like when
okay.
I do tarot, and I've actually been doing oracle readings a
Hmm.
lot more than tarot lately. And it's like I'll read the passage and then things just flow through me,
Yeah,
and
right.
it's almost like I leave for a little while and
Hmm.
something
Hmm.
comes and speaks for me, because sometimes right after the readings, I don't even remember what the reading was about.
Right. So you
Yeah, so
use your
that
intuition.
is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that's one of the stuff that I do. I am a Reiki Grandmaster, which is different than the Master.
Mhm.
Reiki Grandmaster, it just means that you decided to go into your studies higher levels. And I am at the level now that my Grandmasters should, who taught me. So I do a lot of different types of Reiki also, because The way I look at it is the Usui Reiki is like your family physician,
Hmm.
and then the other ones are the specialists.
Oh.
So, a person who needs Reiki, who comes to you for Reiki, but they have an addiction, for example. So
Hmm.
there's one or two specific ones for addiction, or they want to bring their dragon guides in to help them and heal them. I have one specifically for that. So, I use it intuitively usually,
Yep.
because it's the person gets on the table and then let's just go from there. Or the person goes on Zoom, for example, and whatever their higher self tells me that they need. So,
Hmm. How long have you been doing Reiki?
well, I originally started in the early 80s. I would go to New York City
Hmm.
once a year. They would come, and that's how I got my levels, my first three levels. They would come, and it would be people directly from China or Japan, depending on which grandmaster was coming that year.
Hmm.
And it would be a big auditorium, and they would teach you there. But unlike now, you didn't get books. You couldn't show those symbols like now it's all over the place.
Hmm.
It was very secretive. It was more honoring the craft of the healing modality and the connection to the divine,
Hmm.
because the spirituality side of it wasn't just about the symbols. Here it is, you do this and do that. It was connecting that symbol to your higher self, and your higher self connecting to the divine to get that energy and
Hmm.
that guidance. um, we all, anybody who does Reiki can grab the energy from everywhere, but it's
Yep.
that connection to the divine, or that um, gets you to a higher level of understanding what that client needs.
Hmm.
And by doing so, then you also receive healing at the same time. And that's sometimes what people don't understand. Like they say, "Oh, you must be tired." I'm like, "No, I'm rejuvenated now." I'm like, I'm ready to go 24 hours.
Yeah,
So,
I've noticed it because I'm a Reiki master myself.
okay, right.
So I've noticed with in the beginning, I wasn't disconnecting from my clients. So I
Yeah.
was actually being drained after my sessions. I would feel like I needed to eat sugar because I would get shaky and
Mhm.
just be really tired, and disconnecting from them afterwards
Right.
made such the difference because I felt so energized afterwards and I was ready to
Mhm.
go run a marathon. Like, and
Yeah.
you feel so good. Your soul, your spirit
Mm,
feels enlightened after
exactly.
every Reiki session. I'm just like, I wish I could get more Reiki sessions because it
Mhm.
just becomes such a good feeling inside and out that
Right.
you get to feel during it.
And that is one of the reasons I streaming uh, Reiki sessions now, complimentary, every single Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. It goes all over. It goes on YouTube. It goes on Facebook. It goes on Twitch. A whole bunch of other places. And I should stream a session. It goes on Roku TV, on Conscious Awakening Network. That's the network one of the networks I belong to.
Mhm.
It goes on Parapost Network, also on Facebook. And I feel that, first of all, when I do it that way, whoever cannot afford it can get it. Those that don't understand it could feel it without being embarrassed or
Mhm.
feeling awkward going to
Yeah.
a session. And they get what they need, because that's how Reiki is. You get what you need, and I just stream it out there, and I've been getting a lot of good feedback from it, from people who like, I can't believe I even streaming it, I feel it, and I'm like, well, that's what it's supposed to be. But okay, good. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah,
So,
with Reiki, learning that there is no limitation
yeah.
is remarkable. I even remember when I first got attuned to Reiki and was experiencing all of the energy around me and the visions and the feelings and the voices and
Mhm.
everything. I was just like, the movies don't lie. Magic is real. It's all real. Not a myth.
No, no. And, you know, people say that it doesn't really work. Then why did hospitals have them available to people who come out of surgery and to families? Hospices here in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, also tri-state over here, New York. Not so much now because after COVID everything changed, but you were able to go and volunteer your time,
Hmm.
and you had people remarkably um, getting healed faster and recovering from surgeries. Um, you went to hospice, and the even the person who was passing away, you could see their calmness and their fear go away, and their just it was just it. You know, I of course now they don't allow you to right now because they're still but it's very different. It's very different when you get Reiki, especially after surgery.
Hmm.
Um, I have a client who has had at least 20 different surgeries, and she decided to come to my Reiki clinic at that time it was just in person, and she started coming, and she's like, "This is the first surgery out of all my other surgeries that I'm able to start walking within the week." She was able to walk. She was able to drive within a month, which other times it took one surgery took 2 years for her to get back.
Wow.
And just and they did the exact same surgery. So I'm like, okay, that's good. That's a great poster child event for Reiki. So
Yep. Do you ever still feel surprised by the results?
of course, because it's not like I keep telling people, it's not me. I'm
Yep.
just the provider. I'm just the conduit. I'm just the one who allows that energy to come through and do its
Hmm.
thing. And there are times where I'm like, wow, I didn't feel a thing, and the person's like, oh my god, I can't even get up, and I'm like, oh, okay, it worked. Because yeah, it's sometimes you yourself, you're giving it, and you're just not feeling anything, and you're like, am I doing it right? No, I gotta be doing it right because there's no wrong way to doing it. Just like, okay. It's like, and you have that talk with yourself because it, it's not that I doubt myself, it's that I know that this is not my ego. I don't need to put my ego in it because it's not me. So
Yep.
it's good. And I use Reiki also to do all the paranormal stuff because when I go in an investigation, especially the private ones, I send Reiki to the ghost and I send Reiki to the house with the little side note. I'm going there in peace. I just want to hear your story. May
Hmm.
I come in? And so by the time I get there, I open the door, but before I step in, I said, "Okay, am I allowed to come in? Is it okay? This is their house. This is not." And I want them to understand I'm there in peace. I'm not there to cause trouble. I just want to hear their story because I'm an investigator, but I investigate more of the stories of those ghosts that are not told, not whether they could move something. They could get enough energy. Anybody can move anything. Humans, without doing anything, can move things.
Hmm.
From here 20 feet away. So why wouldn't they, who are all energy, not
Right.
be able to do it? So I just like, okay, just let me know if it's okay, if I could come in, and then as soon as I get the permission, I go in, and that's how I get it is so peaceful after that. And that's how I also help when a house has been stirred
Mhm.
by previous investigations or whatever, because a lot of the times people don't remember that they're not living there. The owner is
Mhm.
going to come back with the family and live there. And if you leave the house a little wild up, then the members that are living there are they're the ones that are going to be affected. You walked out, you left, you went to the next place, and that's it. But I come in and I get called a lot when the houses are disturbed, and I try to negotiate something. Okay, what are you the other side? What are you guys angry about? They're not the ones that did it. So what can we do to make peace here?
Mhm.
And I have found that going with respect helps a lot. Even just investigate, because you do
Mhm.
get a lot more when you just go in there and make them understand, or tell them, show them that you're not there to disturb, you're just there to witness them and be their voice.
Mhm.
So, and that's how you find out if they need crossing or if they just need to be left alone, or, they just hate the color of the walls. I had gone to one house, oh my God. And the original owner of the house hated a pink that was in the walls. And I said, okay. So I told the owner, and the owner's like, well, that's the color I picked. I said, okay, what other color can you work with? Let's see if. And
Mhm.
once she repainted the dining room, I don't know why she would paint the dining room pink, but anyway, she painted the dining room a different color. The owner of the house was peaceful,
Oh.
absolutely peaceful after that. And as far as I know, everybody's still getting along. Um, she keeps an eye on the house. The ghost, the owner, the original owner, keeps an eye on the house. And actually, one time there was a break in, and she scared the burglars out of the house. So they
That's
broke through a
amazing.
window. They broke through the window, and they were trying to, and they left everything behind because she started moving things and all that. So they panicked and left. And when she got home, then she realized what was happening, and she saw everything in the cameras. And I'm like, yeah, you see, if you get along,
See,
everybody can.
this is
Yeah,
why less people should be afraid of their house ghosts and just
yeah,
communicate with it more, because in reality they could be like a security system for you.
exactly. You never know, right? And let's face it, it was their original house. They died there. It was
Mhm.
they built it, the whole thing. So it's very hard to imagine building a house, living there for so long, your family and all that, and then dying, and it's just letting people basically destroy your vision. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's very hard.
Yeah,
So
especially when that place was probably their happiest moments,
yeah,
their
exactly.
biggest memories, their own little piece of heaven, and then to
Exactly.
watch it change,
Mm-hmm.
I can
Hmm.
understand why that would upset some spirits,
Right,
definitely.
right. So, but yeah, so like I said, I use Reiki, I use my intuition, I use my mediumship, I use everything that I can when I go paranormal, into the paranormal investigation side of it. Because,
Mhm.
people say paranormal, but they don't realize that anything that's not considered normal is paranormal.
Yeah, I
although
like that.
everybody, although everybody thinks it's just about ghosts, it's, not really.
Mm-mm.
Um,
There's a lot more out there than just
e-
ghosts.
exactly, exactly. So, I mean,
What is one of your best memories paranormal investigating? Like, what is something that your mind always goes back to?
my very first house cleansing or house blessing. It was a family that lived in the city of Newark, New Jersey.
Mhm.
right across from a cemetery. Now, the cemetery had graves from late 1600s. So, I mean, it was an old, old cemetery.
Mhm.
And they kept saying that things were moving and this and that, and there were kids in the house and all that. So I said, well, I'll go and see what it is, and then we'll see what we can do. And they're like, no, I want you to bless the house, yada, yada. So I walked in. The kids were terrified. I mean, they looked like they were clinging on to mom the whole time. They didn't even want to move. So um, all of a sudden, I hear a voice, and it's a child's voice. And I turn around, and it wasn't one of her children. And I'm like, oh, now I understand. The child ghost wanted to play with the
Mm.
real kids, the
Mhm.
living kids. And we, I started talking to the ghost and the kids, and every day I would go there and just continue talking. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do a house blessing. So anything that is negative in here just leaves. Or decides to do something besides being negative,
Mhm.
because they could just be that they're angry at the way things are, or whatever, or that nobody could hear them. So I did that, and every year I would go back on the same day and do the exact same thing. Talk to whoever was there. Okay, are you going to play nice? Are you going to respect the family? And so on, so on. And I did that for about 20 years. But that house had the most beautiful stained windows. And there's one stained window at the very top in the attic that every single time that I did a house blessing, light would come through it. It could be pitch black, like 9 o'clock at night,
Mhm.
and light would come through it every single time. That is my most memorable thing. That every single time I think, I'm like, that is confirmation that I was doing something right.
Mhm.
And they used to tell me, and we come up here around the same time often to see if it's just like a lighting or a street light or this, and nope, it doesn't light up. I'm like, okay, that was just somebody up there saying you got it, you did the right
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, so
It's like, and they're like thanking you, like thank you
hmm
for, bringing more peace and love in here. Like
yeah,
that's beautiful. I absolutely love that.
yeah, so ever since then it's like, okay, I got it, I know what I got to do. Eventually this is going to be my, I guess, my full-time job. But in the meantime, I had to pay bills, so I had to be a paralegal. you
Yeah.
know. And then kids came along, and but as they got older, I got more back into it. So and now they're
That's
all
amazing.
adults. So it's good.
What has been your favorite place to investigate?
Hmm. An old jail, but it doesn't exist anymore, from what I understand. It's in St. Augustine, or it was in St. Augustine. That was my favorite place. Why? Because part of it, it was a jail and then like a burial ground right in back of it. And then they built a building and within that area.
Uh-huh.
I could feel the women that were unwed and having a child. I could feel their labor pains, and I could hear the baby crying in this one area. I could see a lot of orbs.
Mhm.
It was very, to me. Yes, you have a lot of big places that I could tell you about, but that one to me was the most profound because I felt the labor pains, and I felt the woman's anguish because she knew that as soon as that child was born, if it was born stillborn or it was born and it didn't make it, she was also going to die because back then they considered unwed mothers from the devil.
Mhm.
And if a child was born, um, was stillborn, that was considered devils, evil.
Mhm.
So they would not bury them in the regular cemetery. They would just mass bury them and, you know, dig and put everybody in there and close it up, that kind of thing. So that was like the most profound place that I found. From what I understand, unfortunately, the owner of the building decided to sell it or something, and the tenants that were there, they were keeping it going and doing ghost tours and stuff like that. Unfortunately, they had to give that up, but
Mhm.
that was that was very intense for me. I mean, I have seen many different things, and I have interfaced with a lot of different entities. But that to me was just so profound to feel that anguish of those
Mhm.
women. Um, that was
It's almost
very
like you get a glimpse of their life and,
yes.
really get to see what it was like to live back then. And a lot of people don't understand how hard it really was for, especially
Oh,
for women to live in
women
those days.
women were just property, and they could do whatever they wanted with them. And even a lot of those women, it wasn't even like they had a choice, when they got pregnant. A lot of them was just like, "Oh, you," and that was it.
Yeah.
So they couldn't even they didn't even have control of what went into their body. Never mind who. Let's
Yeah.
just say that.
Yeah.
So, and it's like that was rough. That was
Yeah.
rough. And you can't tell me that all those souls were anything but divine.
Hmm.
Sorry. Souls are divine. It's people who make it
Yeah.
evil.
And I'm sure that property still has activity. Did they
Um,
tear the building down and rebuild
I
something?
I don't know if it was torn down or not. I do know that he was thinking of selling, and I believe he did. I do know that a lot of the streets in St. Augustine have the cobblestone, and they were removing the cobblestone because they had discovered that there were cemetery burial grounds. So in some places they had uplifted some of the and taken the remains out, and then um, redid
Hmm.
the streets. So, but it's a beautiful place there, very quaint. I mean, if you could fit one car, you better make sure the car is skinnier when you're driving in those side roads. Oof. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. But like I said, that was my one of my most interesting experiences when I did some of the paranormal investigation stuff. I am a little more slow at this age. I'm 62, about to be 63.
You look
So
amazing.
thank you. So I kind of leave it more to the younger folks. I stick with more of the private stuff now,
Hmm.
where people need help for because there's children and stuff like that. And I try to go in there and remediate, which is what I call it. Remediate the situation, try to bring it both sides
Hmm.
to a good understanding so everybody can exist calm and at peace and just hear both sides story
Yeah.
basically. So and that's basically what I do with the actual paranormal, although I do remote paranormal investigation every once in a while. Like if somebody wants uh, in Canada or in Mexico or whatever, they want me to go with them. I'm like, I'm not traveling.
Hmm. Yeah.
You could just put the camera there and we could both investigate and you could tell me what you feel. I'll tell you what I feel. But,
And that's the one thing I love about doing energy work and learning, actually learning and understanding energy
hmm
is you don't have to actually physically be there.
No, no.
Especially with our Reiki. And I'm even starting to wonder if it's not even just a Reiki thing
Yeah.
that we can go and assist people remotely.
Well, I assist people remotely with everything I do, including helping them fix their matrix, helping them with their DNA, helping them just uh, even finding things. Like, I've had this one woman, poor thing. She was in her 80s. Her husband died exactly 2 years on their anniversary before, and she couldn't find her ring. And she's like asking for help all over the place. And somebody said to me, you think you could help her? I said, I don't know, I'll try. And sometimes they let you, the item wants to be found, and sometimes not. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I told her where to find it, the area, and she was on the phone with me, and she's like, I said, what? She's like, not only did I find the ring, but I found a letter that my husband had written to me before he died. I started to cry, and I said, he wanted you to find the ring so you could find the letter. I was like, I was in tears. I was in tears. I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm not seeing, because I'm like going, just crying. And so you just never know what you can do. And Reiki, Reiki is energy healing, period, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Reiki, you could find things. You're a master. You could do the so-called energy surgery or surgery energy, where you could
Mm-hmm.
go into the person and take out that bad juju seed or whatever. Help them understand where they need to have the doctors look, because I'm not a doctor. I'm not about to go in there and repair your appendix. I'm sorry. That ain't happening. I faint that blood. So what I tell you is, you need to go. I would have this area checked out, and that, because I'm a big believer that Western and Eastern medicine could work together.
Yeah.
It very good work together. There's certain things that you need surgical hands for. You need certain things. I'm not against anything. It just depends on who, what, and when. So, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, she's stretching. She's always
oh,
got to make an appearance too.
that's okay. That's okay. Mine are sleeping. If not, they would be out here too.
But yeah, that is all amazing and beautiful. I love hearing how you include Reiki with the paranormal. That is absolutely beautiful to me, and it makes me feel that love,
Thank you.
that connection you get to the other side, and finding out what they say the other side is about. It's all
Mhm.
love and healing and connecting, and I'm really, I love your experiences so far.
Thank you. Thank you. It's um it's something that I have been very blessed.
Mhm.
And I am one of those that just goes for the opportunity. If somebody says, "Oh, there's this," I said, "Well, I may or may not have done it, but I'll give it a try.
Mhm.
What's the sense?" That's how you basically learn, and you get to experience a whole bunch of different
Yep,
things. So,
definitely. Is there anything else, any other experiences that you would like to share, or wisdom or knowledge you want to share with anybody?
well, first of all, my biggest thing is, I tell everyone, speak with your heart, not your mouth.
Mhm.
If you do a kind deed, please do it in secret. Don't announce it, because then that's your ego. If you do something for someone, if somebody's having surgery, for example, or there's a death in the family, don't just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, my condolences, hope you feel better." If you can, cook them a meal. Take it to them. They got COVID. Oh my God. You imagine how good they would feel if you would do a batch of chicken soup, for example,
Mhm.
and just drop it in front of their door, call them up and say, hey, go pick up your stuff right in front of your door. Go pick up something for them. You're going to the store. Do things for each other. Just say hello, say good morning, smile,
Yeah.
hold the door open. You know, we're so, we have gotten to be so busy at
Mhm.
nothing. We have gotten to be very busy at nothing. Sharing a kind word to someone is worth a lot more than putting them down.
Yep.
There's no need to fight. We're all here on our own path. There's
Mhm.
no need to put anybody down. We're all here on our own path. How are they going to learn if they don't make their mistakes? How are you going to learn if you don't make your mistakes?
Right.
So, the idea is that hopefully by your example, they see that and they start turning it around. And maybe we could spread some positive love around this world that's gotten a little crazy right now.
It is definitely.
And just, speak with your heart. That's the first thing. And if you don't have anything to say, like the old saying goes, don't say anything at all. Just keep it quiet, just agree, and let it go.
Yep. I definitely love that. And we have gotten so busy and impatient in this world. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
a simple hello, how are you, or a smile from a stranger in the grocery store, I've
Oh,
even noticed with myself makes a huge difference in my mood. I could
mm-hmm.
be feeling I get overwhelmed in public because can feel everybody's energies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if I forget to block that off before I go in, I get really overwhelmed in public. And sometimes just that simple, kind smile, hi,
Mm-hmm.
hello, from a
Yep,
random stranger can really just turn everything around. So I
exactly.
try to smile at people as much as I can, and I try to compliment people as well. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I really like those pants, or your hair color is really pretty, because you
Mm-hmm.
can see it in their face how much it
Yes,
changes their day as well. And then that you feel that energy from them and it changes your day too.
exactly. It goes completely around.
Hmm.
Karma is not just a bad thing. Karma is whatever you send out comes back to you,
Yeah.
whether it's good or bad.
Hmm.
And I feel that if we could just get ourselves together and start sending some love, this world would be a different place.
Hmm. I want to share something about the karma thing because it was something I experienced and maybe it could help some other
Mm-hmm.
people. When I was younger, I used to work in fast food joints,
Mm-hmm.
drive-throughs and stuff like that. And sometimes I would have some pretty bad days and weren't always very nice handing out my food. And
Mm-hmm.
the experience that I learned from that was I had started noticing when I would go out to restaurants or get food from somewhere, my order was always messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I started changing my perspective in my job and
Mm-hmm.
started, doing little extras like asking if they need napkins or, and then making sure that their cups were presentable and their food was all good to go. I started really taking care of my job and my customers.
Mm-hmm.
And I had started noticing that coming back to me when I would go out to restaurants, I would get a free coffee, or they
Mm-hmm.
would be like, "Hey, I have this extra sandwich. Would you like it for free?" Things like that would
Mm-hmm.
happen. So that definitely the karma thing is really something to think about. Even when
Mm-hmm.
you're in a bad mood and you're just like, "I don't even care right now." Just think about how that's going to come back to you.
Yeah, exactly. And how your perspective at that very moment, you don't want to vomit on somebody else. If they could be having a great day and you vomit, you know,
Mhm.
you're ruining their life, their
Yep.
day now.
Yep.
So it's a major difference, major difference.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, this has been absolutely amazing. I am so happy you got to join me on this today. I
Thank you
am
for having
so
me.
excited to check out your mediumship classes. So I'll be definitely looking into that.
Good, good. Looking forward to it.
All right.
And thank you.
One last time, is there anything else you would like to share?
Yes, parents, do not put your children down for what you cannot see. Try to see it from their side. They come into this world wide open. So they see, they hear, they feel everything.
Mhm.
Just give them the opportunity to express who they really are before you start telling them how they should be. Really, it's I have learned that a lot of the times parents tell their children, "You got to be a doctor. You got to be a doctor," and that child hates medicine. But my parents want me to be a doctor, so I became a doctor, and they become terrible, bad side mannered doctors because they're not really loving with it. So give the child a chance to be themselves. And also, if they're talking to their friends, just ask them about their friends. Let them tell you, let them experience it, and then you may start to see or experience that child's friend, and then you can help that child go through. And if you don't know how to help them, find somebody who can. There's plenty of people out here who experience the paranormal who can help a child. So,
I love that. I definitely love that because I think people do forget that children are their own little humans and they are
hmm
experiencing their own paths. So
hmm
being there for them and hearing them and supporting them is
right.
very important.
Yep. And especially right now, since we do have those special 144,000 souls on Earth right now that are supposed to be helping humanity.
Wow.
So you don't want to extinguish that flame. You want to be able to give it more fuel so they could do whatever they came here to do.
Yep,
And
exactly.
so,
That's beautiful. Well, I have had a wonderful time. Thank you so much for this
thank
exchange
you.
of experiences. It's been beautiful. I feel more enlightened. So thank you so
Mhm.
much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye bye.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope you enjoyed all of the conversations and experiences shared today. I hope you learned something. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and video, share it out. And if you would like to be on the show, reach out to me. You can email me or find me on social media platforms. I'm always looking to hear about your experiences, your wisdom, your knowledge. And if you have a spooky place that you want me to visit, let me know and I can see what I can do. All right, guys. Thank you so much and keep it creepy.